So while we're waiting for that dough to rest, I want to show you, this is a proofing basket. And it's made out of reeds. This one came from Germany. They're called Garkorb in German, Banneton in French. And I found this to be one of the better ways to let the dough rise, or proof, as they say, and that's why it's called a proofing basket. The key with these, as you can see, it's in a spiral shape here, made of a specific kind of reed. The key is to dust it heavily with flour and put the dough in there. And actually, once the dough is raised, because this thing breathes a little bit, it'll have a nice kind of drier crust on it, which is great. And the other thing is, it'll have a real distinctive pattern from the flour and the spiral of the basket. These are not very expensive. They come in different sizes. Here's a little bit bigger one. They also come in oval shapes. This one happens to fit pretty well with the bread that I bake, so this is one I'm using. And I did modify this one a little bit. We got a little bit of a loop of cord here on the end, and that's so if I lose it inside the pot when I drop it in there, I can pull it back out without burning my fingers. So while the dough is resting, I'm just going to take some of this flour and sprinkle it in here real good. There we go. We'll set that aside, and we'll get the dough out of the machine here. I'm going to put a little bit of flour on the counter here so I can turn it out. There it is. Scrape a little bit of the rest of that off the bottom here. Alright. Now, what we've got to do is kind of shape this around into a roughly domed shape. I'm just kind of turning it and tucking it under, putting a little bit of tension in that top crust, in that dough, and that's a good thing. So now you can see it's nice and smooth on top. The underside, not so pretty. And you can move it around on the counter. Develop a little bit of stickiness on the counter there, and you can kind of roll it around. Close some of that up on the bottom if you like. You certainly don't have to. Closed up a little bit there. Now if we were to keep doing this, it would eventually close all the way up. Okay. Now the thing to remember is the part that goes down in the basket is going to be the top of your bread. So I'm going to take that smooth side. We're going to lay this in here, just like so. Now, as this rises, it's going to relax, kind of expand out to fill this, and then it'll also rise up. And I'm not worried about this. That gives a little bit of character. But what we are going to do, so I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on this, and this will be a good gauge for how much it's risen, because as it rises, this little crust of flour on top here will crack. And judging by the number and the width of the cracks, you can kind of determine how much that has grown. And it makes a neat little pattern too, so it's kind of fun. So we're just going to sprinkle this on here. And then we're more or less going to leave it. I think I'll just turn this upside down on there just so it doesn't dry out too much. And that's our bowl from this morning. And so we'll just leave this for, oh, I don't know, an hour or two, we'll see. And it'll be time to stick it in the oven.